what's up, YouTube? So right now, I'm here with the interview queen. You've seen her on Impact Wrestling. You've seen her all over the world of professional wrestling right now. This is Alicia Atout.
Hi, guys.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing super well. I'm so stoked to be on here. You and I have been talking the last couple of days through the lovely DMs, and I'm excited to start here. Thanks for having me.
That's great. Thank you. Appreciate it. But just to get into it, so we've seen you on Impact Wrestling. We've seen you do stuff for like All In and StarCast. How'd you really get into like starting Ambi and like, you know, starting the whole interview process with different bands and wrestlers?
Well, it definitely wasn't a normal route. I started off writing random reviews in class, and my parents noticed that, and they said, why don't you throw that stuff online? So I did. Yeah. And luckily, it stuck, and I started doing music interviews, and those music interviews went from emailers with celebrities to in person. I actually used to do these really creepy videos called 2Q video interviews, and it was literally me just pulling people aside doing 2 questions, which is a bit ridiculous, but people really enjoyed it. And then after the music stuff got fairly successful, I decided to start interviewing wrestlers. So I did my first wrestling interview about 2 years ago. My fans liked it. There was no backlash, no negativity, so it felt good. And from that moment, I really haven't turned back, and it's been pretty much full-on wrestling. It's taken over quite a bit, so yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's great. But you've interviewed the likes of like Lio Rush and Kenny Omega and like Cody Rhodes. So many people, you know, so many different wrestlers. Who's been like some of your favorites that you've done so far? Because I know you've had like so many. And like, who's someone that like eventually down the line you'd like to interview, like from any roster across the world?
My favorite interviews. That's so hard because I've interviewed over like 4,000 people in my 5 years of. I know, man. It's been a lot.
Jesus, that's a lot.
It's a lot to choose from. It's a lot of really good moments, but
yeah.
I think time I sit down with any of the dudes from the Elite, it's always a good time. I love having Chris Jericho on. It's been so bizarre over the last year, kind of forming this friendship with Mick Foley. You never think something like that's going to happen. Those are definitely some of my favorites. And then there are a lot of really awesome people on the independents when I think of, like, Chris Wolf, she's amazing. Like, I love her. And I got, like, Chelsea Green and Britt Baker together, and Gianna Perrazzo, and one of my favorite things about my interviews, a lot of the time I'll interview these people when they are on the indies, on that circuit, and then they get signed and called up to WWE, and people are always looking for interviews, and they always come across mine. And I just love seeing their journey, and so those are some of my favorites. And who I want to interview. Ooh, I get so excited thinking about it, I start rambling. Who do I want to interview still? I mentioned the Elite. I want to do an interview with all of them together.
That would be really interesting.
It would be so sick.
That's a very big dynamic of people. That's great. But something that's really interesting about your interviews, I mean, you definitely have like this great form of communication with all the wrestlers. I mean, like, it just looks like it's not even interviews, it's almost like a conversation. So like, how do you like break that barrier of like interview and then more just like trying to get the wrestler to like mainly just sit down and kind of be more comfortable, kind of just answer every question and just feel like they're in the atmosphere of like more communication rather than just like, here's a question, where were you born, tell me the answer.
A big part of it is doing research. I feel like when you come in and people realize, okay, she's not just asking where did I train, when did I start, like the wiki questions, there's a level of comfort already. If I take the time to actually research you and I'm showing that I care, right away that earns some trust. And I don't try to go for the dirt sheet stuff. I don't try to go for headlines. I personally want a conversation. I'm interviewing someone I like. I just want to shoot the breeze and have fun. And I think that's why it translates. And I think that's why the connection is pretty much always made, which I'm really thankful for. You really have to try to not be nervous and just have fun. And I really love that. Fans not really related tonight, but people I sit down with do as well. So yeah, that's kind of just my motto. Have fun with it and shoot the breeze with people.
Oh, that's great. But you're fairly young. You're like 22, 23, like very young, right? That's incredible. Well, I'm 19 right now. But, like, there's, like, a lot of us, like, people kind of get into, like, wrestling interviews and whatnot. So, like, for myself and, like, other people who are, like, just trying to find a way of, like, you know, I want to talk to this guy, but I don't know the right people. Like, how do you make, like, these different type of connections with all these different wrestling promotions and, like, different people in the industry?
You have to get yourself out there. A really good example is if I look at my music career as far as interviewing goes, I started out interviewing a lot of super small bands at super small clubs. There'd be a band with like hundreds of followers on social media. I would go down to a venue where it was like 100 people cap, and you sit down, you do just the same amount of research as you would for a Metallica or, you know, someone massive, and you treat it the same, and you learn what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And then I went from interviewing those smaller bands to interviewing smaller bands and medium bands because people realized, hey, this girl has a rapport with people. And then I went from small bands to medium bands to really big bands. And then it was like this big melting pot of all three in the end. So I never ever ditched my roots with interviewing like smaller people because that was me at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm still always trying to grow. So that was really like the mentality. It's just you gotta get yourself out there, get your name out there, network, reply to fans, don't take any follows for granted. Read your emails carefully, because one email can literally change your life, and if you miss it,
that's very true.
You're screwed.
So, rough business.
Right? It's like, make sure you check your stuff over and be nice.
Definitely.
Be nice to people. Don't think you're hot shit, because that really reflects badly on you. So just treat people the way you want to be treated, as cliche as that is. I mean, it's really a good mentality to have.
It's the golden rule, that's why.
Yeah.
But you do interviews with musicians and wrestlers. So like, do you ever feel like there's like a difference in like how you have to prepare or how you have to talk to them? Because like I know some wrestlers like to stay in gimmick, and like some bands will rather just talk about music and nothing else. So like, is there a difference between trying to like prep for like a band or like a wrestler?
I find that wrestling interviews are easier, and I don't know if that's because of a different sense of community within wrestling or what. And this is like no offense to music, because I absolutely love interviewing musicians. It's simple. I don't know if that's because a lot of people have a gimmick, so they know right away, okay, I gotta snap right into this and act a certain way or what.
Yeah.
But with musicians, you have to do research as far as the music goes, and they want to talk about their music a lot of the time. Or wrestlers, they do not want to talk about wrestling. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like that's the last thing they want to talk about. So you really have to be more in depth and find out about their lives and their hobbies and stuff that they're interested in. And music, you listen to records and you read other interviews, and that's kind of the way you research them. So it's definitely different, and I enjoy both fairly equally, but you should know which person you're going into a conversation with, and then go from there.
That makes sense. So when you find like different information about different wrestlers, like take like Cody Rhodes or like Shane Strickland, for example, do you look at like other interviews they've done with different brands and whatnot, and do you like pull different information from like different people?
Yeah, absolutely. There's totally nothing wrong with reading other interviews or listening to other podcasts to get information, as long as you ask different questions.
Well, yeah, of course.
The reason I read other things and listen to other things is to make sure that my interviews are different and my interviews are unique and they have that different factor to them. So I love looking at other things, thinking, oh, maybe they didn't respond too well to that question, or maybe there's this one interview I did with Hangman Page, and he briefly mentioned that he loved Pop-Tarts. Like, that was it. And the interviewer who did it, right? Yeah. It's just like this weird tidbit. But the interviewer who was talking with him, instead of kind of like replying off of it,
he just kept going.
Just skipped the next question, right?
Oh. Yeah, you can just talk about it more.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I like conversing. So I brought that up to him, like, hey man, I heard that you like Pop-Tarts. And then we literally talked about Pop-Tarts and like flavors and how you can't find them up here, but you can in America. It's this good conversation, and fans loved it. So yeah, try to find those little bits of gold and then just run with them. It's fun.
That's awesome. But also something really interesting, like you were announced for All In, and like I remember watching, I think I was watching like your like Lio Rush interview, and I'm just sitting there looking at it, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, I'm like, oh, she just got announced for StarCast. Like, I'm just watching it. Oh, that's awesome. But like, how was like being backstage for like StarCast or being backstage for All In? Like, was there any like, because I know that's like a really big like step from like sitting down at like, you know, a bingo hall talking to someone to like being in an arena for like 10,000 people. So like, what was like the transition? Like, how did you, like, what was like the feeling going into it basically?
It was just like a really magical night. I was talking with Cody to be there, and because of him in the Bucks I was. Yeah. And as soon as that show was announced, it was one I knew I had to be a part of. Like, it was history, and I felt so like into the independents and just what they represent, and like, oh, I gotta be there. And then when I was like so emotional that night, man. It was crazy. But you see all these legends, these future legends there, and watching off the monitors, and you look to your left and Tommy Dreamer's there, and you look to your right and like Cody's there, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like a lot of different people all at once.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the transition, it's like no matter what kind of show you're working, whether you're performing in front of like 100 people or the 10,000 people, because we pre-taped the promo I did with Omega. Okay. It's like you treat it the same, you know. You see the people you're working with, and you're like, oh yeah, we got a promo today. And like, I remember being so stoked because he's one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, and then we knocked it out, and the reception was great. My Twitter that whole weekend was insane. So yeah, thanks again to those dudes for having me there. It was wicked.
It seemed amazing. It was like awesome to watch. But also going into that, I mean, when it comes to like you working with Impact Wrestling, I know like a lot of people are really interested. Like you went from, you know, just being on YouTube and like everyone's watching you, like, you know, being like a YouTuber basically, and now you just transitioned. Now you're on television and you're still doing like, you know, YouTube videos, like, you know, interviewing bands and wrestlers and whatnot. But like, what was like the story, if you can like say it, like how you got basically just hired by Impact Wrestling? Because like I think that's like so amazing.
Yeah, so I started doing some smaller shows, and that transitioned to local shows. And from there, I started working for BCW in Windsor, which is actually co-owned by Scott D'Amore, who's VP for Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
So I started doing their backstage promos, and then something came along where it was a co-pro. It was BCW and Impact Wrestling. And since I was there, they used me, and it was awesome. And from there, I think they liked what they saw, and I started doing all of their Canadian dates. So it was really simple, honestly. It's kind of like I did the shows and kept doing those shows.
You're kind of like you're like in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's great. But also, well, based off the information I was able to find on you, you didn't go to college or anything for like journalism or communications. So do you feel like that's a necessity? Because like I know I'm in like for college, like for communications right now. But do you feel like that's really like a necessity for like, you know, your avenue of having to go to like this university and learn for 4 years about how to talk to a wrestler? Or like, do you feel like based off, you know, the person that you are, is it something that's kind of like, I don't really need it? Like I was in high school, I did that. Now I'm kind of off just doing this right now.
I definitely don't think it's a necessity. I think it's great to go and hone those skills, and there's like totally nothing wrong with going to a journalism class or English. I applied actually for a couple universities here in Toronto, and I was accepted to them, but the programs weren't what I wanted to learn. It was like, hey, we're going to put you into a field and you can report, or, oh, it's, you know, like car crashes, report on that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I like declined the approvals. Well, I didn't reply to them. And I decided to just start posting more stuff on site and really taking it seriously. And I'm really lucky to have both my parents' support, like, super strong. So I did that instead, and I learned from the small mistakes I made in the beginning. And it really helped me as a person. Like, I used to be terrified of public speaking. I used to stutter a lot. Like, I still do. I ramble like crazy and all that, but that makes me me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you me. It's different.
Totally. And so it pushed me out of my comfort zone. And I went from being this super self-conscious girl to someone who goes and interviews people, like literally converses as my job. It's so weird. It's so weird. But I learned from going out there, hustling, going to those smaller shows, making connections, putting my name out there, not being afraid to talk to people. And it worked. So you definitely don't have to go to school. I think it comes down to if you have that drive and you have that determination. That's going to make a break, really.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it's been working for you. You know, you've been talking to literally everyone. But I guess like another question is, well, since like you work for Impact Wrestling now, you've seen like, you know, all the backstage stuff that goes on in wrestling. Is there any possibility of you ever stepping into a wrestling ring?
Oh gosh. No.
No? Are you sure? I mean, I don't know. You could do it. Probably could. You just gotta try.
No. It's really funny when I walk into certain venues. When I have that interviewer position or the host position, I'll walk in and there'll be people at the door who don't know who I am, or they don't know who a lot of the roster is. So you walk in, the security's like, "Oh, are you wrestling tonight?" I'm like, "No, I'm a part of the show." They're like, "Oh, you look like you could be a wrestler." I'm like, "Well, I'm not." So it's not something. It's just not something I'm super passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about wrestling, but I'm not passionate about
being a wrestler.
Okay. I dress like a peach, and I really think this would not turn out well for me. So. Probably gonna avoid that. I thought about it as in like, wouldn't that be so cool? But never will I actually.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might have to try. I mean, getting there with Tessa Brooks or Tessa Blanchard, obviously, and you know, might want to take that title from her. I mean, see the way she talks to you on backstage interviews and whatnot. She gets a lot of attitude. You might have to go in there, be the interview queen, hit her with a microphone.
I mean, look at someone like Scarlett Bordeaux. I think our whole fan base between the two of us want us to have a little cat fight, battle it out. But I might just have to perfect like a good bitch slap for her and then move forward. I don't think I have to step into the ring.
That could work. That could work.
Yeah.
But also, I was also looking at more information, and like, you know, you're really into like a lot of different type of music. So like, what would be considered like your favorite genre? Because like I found like, oh, you like old school hip hop or this type of British indie music. Like, oh my god, that's so nice, like music I never even heard of before. So I'm like, what would be like your go-to song or like your favorite type of genre?
Oh man, lately I have been super into like a lot of older 70s music.
Okay.
So that's everything from Eagles to Bee Gees to some of the Kiss records. Like I love 70s music. Mm-hmm. But you're right, I'm all over the map. Like it's hard to pick a genre because I'm really passionate about so many.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard. I'd probably go after with my favorite being 70s. There's something so effortless and timeless about that era. And you can go from like disco to really good rock songs to the harmonies being absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'd probably have to pick that as like my all-time favorite. But it's almost unfair.
It's all good though. It's all good. I mean, to have like different type of genres is, you know, very interesting. I'm just like into hip hop. Like I try to get into like different type of genres, and like I don't know, like especially like country music. I just can't listen to it. Okay, oh, thank God, because I just can't, like country music people. I just don't get it. I don't get why like it's so interesting. Like they just talk about tractors and stuff, and it's like I don't get this stuff. It's not that cool, but if you guys like it, I mean, you know what? If it floats your boat, go for it. But is there like someone in like a journalism industry or like someone on television that you watch every week or, you know, every now and then that kind of inspires you to like create your own style of like how you conversate with different, you know, wrestlers or bands or whatnot?
Honestly, the first like 4 years I was doing my interviews, I tried to not, it sounds weird, but I tried to not look up to people because I really wanted to form my own personality. I mean, it's not even a persona, but it's not a persona. Like what you see is literally me. I don't up anything. It's just me. So I didn't want to try to take tidbits from somebody and start acting with them or take on their mannerisms because it's not genuine and people can tell when someone's genuine or not. Mm-hmm. But over the last year, I mean, I've tried new things. I've started ring announcing. I'm doing commentary for the first time soon, and you do have to research. You actually do have to look to people for something that is so out of your comfort zone. So I have actually been listening to like a lot of Morrow because I don't think I know any other commentator who knows every single move like he does. It's like mind blowing.
Crazy. It feels like I'm actually watching like I'm there in person whenever I hear him commentate. I'm like, oh my god, all the Mamma Mia's and stuff. Like, wow, you are really excited for your job. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's weird. And then of course when it comes to some of the backstage promos, like someone like Charlie Caruso, someone who's great to look up to because she just goes, she puts the mic in her hand, says her lines, and it's like she's so efficient and professional. So those are probably two I've been looking at as of late, just because they're different avenues. But yeah, I'd probably go with those two for now.
Wait, where do you possibly see yourself commentating for? Is it Impact Wrestling or is it somewhere else?
I'll be somewhere else. Impact, I'm pretty much strictly backstage host there, but I'm super down to do other things there. Like there's a company I work for called Destiny Wrestling, and Iceman, their owner, is amazing, and he gave me the opportunity on like this huge pay-per-view they had on Fight TV to ring announce for the first time, and I was so scared. I'm like. This is your pay-per-view. Are you sure? He had so much faith in me, and I did it, and he was so stoked with how it turned out in the audience. I got so many tweets and messages about how I sounded, and it was awesome. And now I'm going to be doing it for all their shows going forward. And it's like, you never know what skills you have until you just try. Like, you got to not be scared to be embarrassed, and you just got to try it. And luckily it worked out. But, yeah, I don't know who I'd be doing stuff for in the future, but it's nice I can kind of float around and do what I want. That's definitely...
Definitely. That's great. But I guess like the final questions. Well, again, like as I said before, like you said you're into like old school like hip hop music, right? And like I'm a really big like Biggie Smalls fan. So like, is there like a certain like huge fan? I have like anything I have is like Biggie Smalls. Like the laptop I'm using right now is covered in Biggie Smalls stickers. Like it's a weird obsession. Yeah. It's a weird obsession, definitely. But like, is there like what's like your favorite like old school rapper?
That's so hard. I'm thinking. I'm not frozen. I'm just thinking.
I got you. I know. So people run through your head right now. Like, oh, there's this guy.
It's hard because, like, I've been super into NWA. Like, my parents would have all of these old records playing in our house. So, NWA, DMX,
Oh,
Biggie.
Okay.
This is so hard. Those are probably three of my favorite. DMX like gets me going though. Like he's amazing.
Oh, you know he's dropping an album next year, right?
Pardon?
He's dropping another album next year.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because he gets out of jail, I believe, like the January 27th, something like that. Sometime next month, and he's dropping an album, I believe, like later that year, like I think it's like September or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be.
Actually, I was listening to Hypnotize earlier today, and
really?
yeah, I love that tune. I'm trying to think of like. It's weird though, because when people find this out, then I always get my fans like, "Oh, sing some." And it's like I love rapping along to stuff, but it's like every other word you just can't say. Yep. I'm getting a lot sick of that. So it's like there's no point in me doing this. I posted a story a couple days ago where I literally was like, "Okay, can't say that." So I stopped.
So she gets to the point where you're just saying like the word "the," and then you got to pause for like 5 seconds. Like, well, can't say any of this stuff. I'll just wait like 10 seconds once they're done.
Like I was listening to something like I think it was "Fuck the police."
Yeah.
And I'm like the 10th word in, you just.
Yep. They just go for it. Now, were you an NWA fan before or after Straight Outta Compton?
Before, yeah.
Okay. All right. You're a real fan.
Yeah, no, I don't mention these things because I saw DMX, singing Christmas songs, or I saw the movie for NWA. Like, my parents played these albums in my home when I was little, so it's like cool. This kind of music was ingrained in me, so, yeah, it's kind of funny.
Well, do you listen to any, like, more, like, new age rap, like Lil Pump and all these other, like, newer guys?
Not really. I've tried, and I don't like a lot of it, because a lot of the stuff, especially the mainstream stuff, it's really auto-tuned.
Oh,
and I just can't.
Migos, definitely.
Yeah, I just can't get into it. But there are a couple guys, like I like Stormzy quite a bit. I've actually been getting into him a lot.
I don't think I've ever heard Stormzy before.
Really cool.
Stormzy, you look him up. All right.
Yeah.
Wait, him or her? Is it him?
Him, yeah.
Okay, him. All right, I'll look him up. Stormzy. Okay.
Like, one of my biggest pet peeves in this world is how everyone loves Drake.
Yeah. Wait, do you like Drake? I mean, you're from Canada, right? Drake?
I can't stand him.
You don't like Drake? What?
I can't stand the guy.
What? How? He's amazing.
Because
he's a legend.
All his line, it feels so not authentic, and every single thing is like autotune. It's like Pro can't sing.
You talking about Drake? Wow.
I know, I'm a horrible Canadian.
Wow. Next you're gonna say you hate like Justin Bieber too. Do you like Bieber?
I'm a big Bieber fan. I like Bieber more than Drake though, I'd have to say.
You like how?
Oh.
How? Drake is so good. He's so good.
No, he's not. He's not.
So you didn't like God's Plan at all? That music video dropped? You didn't like that? What?
No.
What?
I feel like I'm so watered down with him, and his voice gets like literally. You know when you hear like nails on a chalkboard?
Yeah, he doesn't sound like that. No, he doesn't. No.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know how to feel about that. You say you don't like Drake.
You're like, get up to my show.
You're like, whoa, that kind of hit me. I thought you were gonna say you like Drake, but okay.
Oh.
Got me stunned for a second. I don't even know what to say. You really don't like Drake though? Like you really? You really like? You're so. I mean, you like Biggie Smalls, so that's good. That's good. You got something in common at least. But wow, honestly, that really stunned me. I really didn't know what to say after that. Let's do this. So, because I was in college, I had to do this thing called icebreakers, right? They ask you a bunch of really basic questions. So let's learn a couple little basic, tidbits about you. So, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, I love like potatoes and meat and this thing called poutine.
I've heard of that. I have a friend that lives in Toronto. He always talks about that. I'm like, poutine just sounds funny. It's what is that like fries and gravy and stuff? Or is that like something different?
It's so good, guys. Okay, so for like all of the people watching, it is deep fried fries, and then you put brown gravy on it, and then in between those two layers, there's these things called cheese curds, and they're like this squeaky cheese. They're like cheese balls almost.
Yeah.
Like mozzarella balls, but like super small and a little bit harder. And when they put them in between your teeth, if they're good, they squeak.
They squeak.
Yeah. And so you have the fries, the cheese curds, and then you put the gravy on top, and it is just.
I might have to get some. Wow, that sounds amazing. It sounds like a lot of grease, but it sounds really good too. But also, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? That's a common question.
chocolate chip cookie dough.
Same. I like that. Great answer. You redeemed yourself from saying you hate Drake, because
with ice cream.
I don't know about that, but ice cream, okay. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Red. Okay.
Yes.
Red. All right. Good color.
You disapprove.
I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know, because the whole Drake thing's still in my head, so I'm just thinking about, like, she said she really doesn't like Drake. But, okay, red. Good color. What's your favorite wrestler, or who's your favorite wrestler?
Of all time.
Number one.
Probably have to think Omega or Jericho.
Okay. That's a good choice. And then final question. What is the beef with MJF? Because I see a lot of those videos, you guys just really seem to not like each other that much. You guys don't really seem to get along. What is wrong with you guys?
He's an asshole.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. I don't
think he needs much explanation. Yeah. If you look through his Twitter, if you look through his social media, if you see him at a show, him in that stupid scarf, I mean, he's a horrible human being.
True.
Anyone who's saying is I'm better than you and you know it is a douche. And when he tries to talk down to me, I don't take it, and I don't think he likes that.
Yeah.
And so now every time I see him at shows, it either ends with him trying to kick me in the crotch and me trying to kick him in the balls. So it's just our friendship now, our relationship.
Oh, nice.
You're a pleasant fan.
That's great. But that's all the questions I have for today, man. I really appreciate you joining, Alicia. It really means a lot to me. I've been a fan of your channel again for like a year now, so just to see everything that you're doing, it's incredible. It's definitely like a big motivation for like what I'm doing on YouTube and for a lot of other people as well.
Oh, I'm stoked. When you reached out to me, just because, it's hard to do podcasts with just the traveling, and you don't get much downtime. And so when I had, Christmas break and the holidays, it's like, I'm so stoked. Let's do some podcasts. When you reached out to me, I checked out your channel and followed you back and everything. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I dig what's on here, the content, and you just seem passionate. So I'm really excited that our paths crossed, and I'm excited that we had the chance to talk. Appreciate
it. Well, for this video, guys, thank you guys for watching the video. If you really enjoyed. And Alicia, where can they find you if they don't know who you are? Which you probably should by now. You probably should. If you guys stayed this far, I'm hoping you know who I am. I told you enough about me. Yeah, she doesn't like jokes. Just remember that. I'm Alicia2. You can find all of my links at Alicia2.com. Instagram is Alicia2, that is ATOUT. Twitter, Alicia2, also ATOUT. Facebook is Facebook.com/Alicia2interviews. YouTube is YouTube.com/amusicblog. Yeah, just search Alicia2 and it'll come up. There's a lot of information, especially. Make sure to catch on Impact Wrestling. Make sure to catch her any independent wrestling show you guys probably go to, because she'll probably be the ring announcer or a commentator for all we know. But I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Really enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below your favorite Drake song, because he is the greatest artist of all time. But I don't know about that one. But thank you guys for watching the video. Really enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, share, or subscribe. And we're out. Sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink Gators. My Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn.